It is 12:01 on the East Coast. We almost made it noon. We were close. We got a good excuse for being a minute late, though. Anyway, it is Friday, noon Eastern. Friday, September 5th. Small Biz Breakdown time. Time for all my friends to gather around and talk about what's going on, small business-wise. Big picture, small picture, individual picture. We got lots of pictures. Got lots of people. We like to start with folks on the West Side. There's one of the folks on the West Side. It's Leland from Oregon. How you doing?
It's it's good. Been traveling. Everyone on this coast has been traveling, but it's just good to be back home. See the kids.
Yeah. Well, someone once said there's no place like home.
Clicking her heels too.
Yeah, clicking them heels, them red heels. Anyway, moving on. We're still slightly less west, but we're still out west. The California, the Gold Rush state where the Los Angeles Rams reside. Got to mention that. It is the one and only Ramon Ray. Should have some applause after I say that,
There should be, Brent. Really, there should be. I'm going to put it on my writer. But no, it's good to be here, man. Good to see you, Brent. Good to see you, Leland, and those who will be forthcoming in minutes. But yeah, there's no place like home, Leland. I agree with that statement, but I think that is where you make it. In my case, I could be in a suite of a Marriott or Ritz-Carlton for 10 years, as long as it's 3 rooms, kitchen. My wife's with me, so home is, for me, contextual. I don't miss like my bed. Many mattresses will be of comfort to Ramon. So,
yes, yeah, going to be roughing it in the Ritz-Carlton, huh? That's really tough to be at home at the Ritz-Carlton.
Exactly. But some people do like their literal home. They like their home. But me,
as we were just talking about, me and Leland, there is really no place like home. Yeah, so me and Dorothy agree. Anyway, we know who likes to be at home in magical Medina. What do we call it again? It's not the soul. It's the rock and roll of something. I'm still kind of sleepy from yesterday's travel, so you'll have to bear with me. Even a Taylor.
Hey, y'all. I do like being at home. And as much as these hotels that we go to are like amazing, man, I slept in today. Like, I slept in till like 6:30.
Wait a minute. Hold up. That's what you call sleeping in? 6:30?
6:30. I am usually up at 5 at the computer. Ramon understands we are the early people.
Mm-hmm. And on Fridays, while I'm in here, I was up at 4 today. On Fridays, I'm up at 4 until I get back to the East Coast. So,
y'all need some help. I'm going to our nation's capital, where I believe this man gets more than a 4-hour night's sleep. He is Shashi Belamkonda. Hey, Shashi.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, Shashi.
Good to see you on the screen after seeing you in real life in the past few days. Like our country's leaders, I'm very happy going to different parts of the country and meeting new people.
Let's move on. Let's just keep it moving. Shashi's in way too good of a mood right now. All right. So my next two are kind of in the same location. I'll go with who I like the most. Monique Johnson.
Hey, Monique.
Hey, Monique.
And we got a chance to actually meet Monique's little one this week. It was really great. She just couldn't take her eyes off me. She was really fascinated by my voice and all that. That's what I thought. Maybe not. Anyway, Monique, what's going on?
Hey, long time no see, everyone. But yes, as Sashi was saying, it was good to see everyone. And even we've known each other for years, and for the very first time, we met in person. So that was really a highlight.
Cool.
Yeah,
I had no idea you guys hadn't met before. Wow.
No.
Just like this on the screen.
Yeah,
and some phone calls.
Yeah,
and some text messages.
That's it. Yeah.
Any smoke screens or any sending up some kind of flares, any other kinds of communication forms you guys have talked with?
No, not quite, but we'll get there one day. Yeah.
If you already have your own little secret handshake. Just let us know about that.
We're gonna. Monique and John Lawson. I think I threw them for a loop, but that's a story for another day.
Oh, you're gonna leave it hanging out there?
Yes,
like a
should.
fresh, like an apple just ready to be plucked off. I mean, that's just.
I think there's a small business lesson in there. I've got some small business lessons that I had.
No, even you're covering up now. No, even you're trying to get Brent sidetracked. Sorry, it doesn't work. No,
it never does. It just never does. You know what? And then I have to go to our last person on today's show. He's the cold one. Some say he's the bold one. More and more people are saying he's the. I'm not going to say today. I'm going to be nice today. I'm just going to say it's John Colder Ice Lawson.
Hey, John.
What's
with
up,
with his big red mug of, I don't know what's in there.
Tea. Hot tea.
Long Island iced tea, huh? It's a little early in the day for that, but
Warm.
Good to see you, John.
All right.
Warm tea.
I'm
Good
glad
to see all of you guys again. A little too early to be re-seeing you all, but okay.
And you call me the bad guy. Listen to this, dude. Let's all say hello to Phyllis George. Phyllis George. Wasn't that the name of the lady that was on the NFL and CBS?
It sure was.
Phyllis George.
But no, I doubt if that's.
I don't think it is, but we're glad to have her.
Hi, Phyllis. Well.
We're glad to have her anyway. And I think we actually might have an eighth member. I see someone trying to log in. He's trying to log in. I think he's actually here. Brian Moran.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, what's up?
Look at this.
Like a whole crew.
I think
we need to get together more often because that's why we got these people.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes,
Can you hear us?
we can hear you.
We can hear you, see you. Wonderful, Brian.
Well, let's not get carried away there, Shashi.
But Brian, shift the video camera a bit. We can see kind of like it lifted up. We can see your shorts. So, we don't want to see all that.
I don't think he can hear us. He still can't hear us. I don't think. Can you hear us? No, he can't hear us.
No, he can't hear. He don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, you can't hear us. Let's put it in the private chat. Somebody tell him we can't hear. He can't hear us. Ask him if he can. We kind of.
Yeah, he says I can't hear anyone.
Speaker settings.
That's your problem.
All right, we're gonna
figure it out, Brian.
Yeah, this is what happens when you've stayed away too long from the show, there, Brian. You forget how to use your ears and stuff like that. Anyway, we'll talk about what we just got back from in a little minute or so. But we got some fresh economic news, and I got a little video clip of it being announced. The latest jobs report. Let's see. And I wanted to make sure that the video was not from, one of those left-leaning sites or stations. So I'm not even using CNBC, which I bet it would be news to them that they're left-leaning. We're going all the way to Fox Business News. So let's see what they have to say about the jobs report. Here we go.
Back to the August jobs report, fairly weak. Only 22,000 jobs added in August. Labour Secretary Laurie Chavez-Darima joins me now. Madam Secretary, welcome back to the show. It's good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
The job market's slowing. Surely there is no excuse for the Fed not to lower interest rates sharply. I'm sure you agree with that, Madam Secretary.
Absolutely. Jerome Powell should be embarrassed by this report because he has not done his job. The president was right in 2016, and the president is right now. Everybody has done their job. The president in his tariff talks, the trade deals, the trade deficit, making sure that is for the American people, that he has balanced that. Congress did their part in passing the One Big Beautiful Bill, the working tax cuts for Americans. But Jerome Powell has not done his job.
All right, that's enough of that. So apparently it's all Jerome Powell's fault.
It's amazing. That's amazing. It's amazing how you can just spin everything into a lie that means absolutely nothing but bullshit. I mean, like whenever did we ever look at Jerome Powell and say, you know what, you're the problem with our job market? Stupid. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
So I guess John wanted to go first.
On every day. Garbage
I agree with you, John.
Is garbage out.
This is the one time politically, John, I agree with you. Nothing further to say, but I agree with John.
I'm dumbfounded here. They're agreeing on something. I'll just say this, and then we'll pass off to whoever. When the job numbers are great, usually the president gets the credit for that. Mm-hmm. But when they're not great, it's Jerome Powell's fault. There's a little bit of, I don't get that. But anyway, who wants to go? Is somebody, well, John, you kind of unofficially went, and then Ramon kind of unofficially went. So Ramon, who are you going to throw it to?
You know, I'll tag it to Monique. I'm sure Monique has something to say, and I think she'd agree with probably the president about what the problems are. Monique, sure, you have the mic.
You're funny. I think John said everything that I was thinking without, I probably would have been nicer about it. But John, that, and also what Brett just said, right? So he gets the credibility when things are good, but when things are bad, fingers are being pointing to other people. So it's just interesting that they're taking this take on it, but there's nothing really more to say. And I just think it's just utter nonsense, as John was saying.
That's not what he said, but we get you. He did. All right, let's see if Brian is back. Brian, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right. Yes.
Brian figured out the technology. Good job.
There you go.
So, Brian, first of all, welcome back to the show. It's been a while.
Thank
you. Glad to see you. We were glad to see you at the Zoho event, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But did you see the video clip we just played about the jobs report and all that?
I did not, but I read a little bit about it this morning.
Do you want to see the clip?
Sure.
No.
Brace yourself.
Is it who is it? Varney? Stuart Varney, I think.
Yeah, it was good old Stu Varney. All right, here we go.
The August jobs report, fairly weak, only 22,000 jobs added in August. Labour Secretary Laurie Chavez de Rima joins me now. Madam Secretary, welcome back to the show. It's good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
The job market's slowing. Surely there is no excuse for the Fed not to lower interest rates sharply. I'm sure you agree with that, Madam Secretary.
Absolutely. Jerome Powell should be embarrassed by this report.
All right, that's all we need to know from her.
There you go.
You get the gist of it. All right.
Yeah.
So since you can hear us now, I'm just going to pass it to you and get your take on what was announced today. And what do you think?
Was it 22,000 jobs? Wait
it
till
was expected 75,000, I think, and it was only 22. Yeah.
And wait till they revise that number.
That's right. That's right. We got a new Bureau of Labor Statistics head now, right? So
it'll probably go down. It'll go down even more. The bottom line is there's so much uncertainty in this market. There always is. It seems like since the pandemic. I mean, everybody's kind of on pins and needles, right? This time of year, you're coming into the last 100 or so days of the year. So many variables between interest rates, labor, inflation, jobs, right? Well, less labor, but for a lot of business owners, the last 2 months will make or break their year. And now they've got to have their head on a swivel trying to figure out, am I going to make money? Am I going to lose money? Especially the low margin businesses, right? Where if you're not tracking variable costs every single day and you wake up 4 weeks later, you could have already, shifted to a loss for the entire year. So this jobs report is not surprising to me. Automation has definitely played a role in it. But I think businesses they have a wait and see attitude. I've survived this long without adding to staff. Why not? Let's go a little bit further. And I think the government is trying to really push the Fed to lower interest rates. So the government's doing its role to get them to lower it. We got 3 shots at lowering it. I'm 95% sure 2 of those 3 times the Fed's going to lower the interest rate by about 1/4 of a point.
According to CNBC, there's 100% chance that they're going to lower it in September.
Yeah.
At
But
least
it will
25
only be a
basis
quarter.
points.
It's not going to be a half. It'll be a quarter point.
Yep.
And they'll want to see what happens in October and December.
Yep. All right. So we usually ask the person who just spoke to tag somebody else who hasn't spoken yet. So let me tell you, we've already heard from John. We've already heard from Ramon, and we already heard from Monique. So whoever you want to tag next.
Well, I wouldn't have taken Ramon or John anyway. So maybe Monique, but I'm going with Ivana. Yes. I love the
My
grunt.
question is, systems thinking, people. Systems thinking. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Right.
What did you think was going to happen? What is it that impacts jobs numbers, right? We've already talked about tariffs. We haven't talked about immigration restrictions, and in places like Texas and Florida and California, where there's a lot of retirees going to, but that also has a lot of immigrant labor involved in building. That's going to make an impact. We haven't talked about the federal job cuts that have already happened, right? They are hiring some of those people back. We haven't talked about the demographic shifts of baby boomers retiring if they can, right? We talked about business uncertainty, and we talked about automation AI. So these are all the things that impact, and we forget to think about systems in the fact that when you pull one string, it's like a mobile. You pull that one string and like all these other things get shaken up. So no surprises. The only thing that surprises me is we have these job numbers, and I'm hung up on this, and I'm sorry. And we get entrepreneur, what do you call that? Optimism on the increase. I will never understand this. Okay, I'm going to tag Shaji.
Wow, thanks, Ivana. Great insights from everybody. And Ramon actually praised me at the Zoho event, so I have to be very thoughtful in my response. Here's my read on this whole thing: is everybody's waiting for the other shoe to drop. Whether it will drop or not is doubtful, right? Number one is nobody's investing in anything new, including hiring more people, because they don't know how the economy is going to turn, right? And that's clearly showing in this jobs report. But what will give people confidence is, I think, open for debate. Like it may or may not be the interest rate. But if you want to think positively, and like, let's say everybody, and it's a hard market for job seekers, even though the number of jobs created is less. Like I am hearing from people who have been out of the job market. In fact, some of them are just saying like, I'm going to drive Uber. I'm not getting a job. Nobody is calling me. So I'm going to. But what if this could turn into a positive thing and we have more solopreneurs coming up because there's a change in the interest rate and it's easy to get a loan, start a business? I have nothing to say all of this is going to happen, but that's what I'm hoping for. And if nothing changes, the job report next will be even worse.
All right. There's only really one person you could tag here.
Let's do. Hey, Leland.
All right. So first of all, when it comes to the news, that is the beast that it is. Back when Biden was in office and you had Fox News reporting on what's going on in the world, it was always Biden's fault when it was bad, and it was Republicans when it was good, and vice versa. When Democrat news organizations were reporting Biden's teams were doing, it was all good for them, and it was Republicans' fault when So that's just the belly of the beast when it comes to news. I like getting a diverse news source, picking from various aspects, and then also really finding people or people that report that also show facts. It's like, according to this report, and not just like, this report on this blog, it's, .org, .edu, government agency kind of reports. That's usually where I like to glean my news information. When it comes to the job reports, it's not just one person's fault. It's not just Jerome Powell's fault. There's a lot of stuff that kind of goes into it. One of the things that I saw is that we have labor shortages already, and so why would people want to go look for more people to do jobs when there's already a little bit of a labor shortage going on? It's just, you're putting out your job into a sea of just open positions. There's other aspects that go into it. Wage increases has played into it as well. I know in Oregon, just a couple of months ago, they raised the minimum wage again. And it's, I've seen reports of small businesses being like, well, that's it. I mean, we can't hire people because it's now $16, $17 minimum wage in some cities. And it's just, it's hard for them to be able to compete, especially against some of the bigger brands out there who have multiple locations, and then they can kind of subsidize for various locations. And then, borrowing costs is an aspect of that. It's hard to expand and get a loan to be able to expand when interest rates are high. So, I mean, that can play into it. It's not the defining fact, but there's just a lot of elements that go into it, and it's not good to be able to just drill in on one thing. It's a lot of things that go in concert. And I don't got anyone to pass it on to, so I'm going to pass it back to you, Brent.
It's just a fascinating thing because you would think on the surface a weak jobs report would be a bad thing, and the stock market would go in the bad, wrong direction. As soon as that news came out, the stock market actually went up. Because there's people think, oh, that's a nail in the coffin. Now we are definitely going to get the interest rate cut, and that made people happy. So, and actually, I'll just say personally, I'm extremely happy because Broadcom is up like 10%, which is important to me. Anyway, moving on. All right, so we were all 8 of us were in one place just a couple of days ago. We were in San Antonio, Texas, for Zoho's very first SM.
Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
I mean, the Dow right now is down 289.
It went down?
Yeah,
because immediately it immediately went up. And what about the NASDAQ? Is the NASDAQ still up?
I don't know.
Make sure you get that one too. Just break in whenever you have it.
Yeah, it's down. They're both down.
Check on Broadcom, damn it, because it was really up. I'm nervous now. But anyway, I digress. I'm getting nervous too. I digress. All right, so we were all in San Antonio, Texas. We all remember the Alamo. We did the Riverwalk, and we also hung out with the folks at Zoho for the very first SMZ event. Does anybody know what SMZ stands for?
Small Business Zoho. That's what I decided.
That would be SBZ, wouldn't it? Or...
SM, small, medium.
Okay.
The SM, right?
I get you.
That's what I think it is.
It's close enough. I don't even think they knew. Just had to put a Z in there.
They didn't know. We were supposed to come up with that, but I don't know that we did.
As long as there's a Z in there somewhere, they're good. All right.
It's probably Shashi, Monique, and everybody else is the Z.
Moving on from that one, Shashi. So it was the very first time they did an event like that. Usually they have what they call their Zoho Day event, which combines like the folks on the enterprise side of the house, the big highfalutin analyst firms like Gartner and Forrester and IDC and some others, and independent analysts that look at the enterprise space. But they also included folks that are more on the SMB side, influencers, thought leaders, experts, all those kind of folks like the folks you see here. But they decided for the very first time to break that up into 2 events. So this was the very first SMZ event. So why don't we take each of us just go around and say what your impressions were for that? Who wants to go first? Ramon, go ahead.
Sure. Listen, I think of Zoho. It always impresses me how that company's culture and DNA is so different than so many Western companies. All companies do their best, do good. I'll just call it out. Intuit, QuickBooks, we've all been to big events. Salesforce, I've been to their events. Oracle, NetSuite, been to their events and more. But I think Zoho just has a special DNA. Yes, the company was birthed in India and has that Indian culture, whatever that may or may not mean. But the humility, the we have enough, lower prices for customers, build trust, all those things always impress me, notwithstanding the technical speeds and feeds. But I think what's more important for me is the company itself and how they telegraph to the market. Leland, what'd you think?
It was a whole lot of fun. And they packed it full. They had a schedule down to the second, and they were on top of it. They were getting us through it. But I love that. I love the culture. I love being able to interact with like CEOs and just the bigwigs of companies as if they were just normal people, and being able to talk. I did the Riverwalk with Tony, the CEO of Zoho USA. Him and I and my wife and I'm not sure who it was, but there was another guy from Zoho, and we were just walking down. We were chatting as if we were friends, and it was fun. Monique, you're up.
I thought it was a solid event. I really like the intimacy of it, right? Because there's different events of different sizes, and I think this was large enough. Maybe it could have been a little bit larger, but based on their goals, and then also like Leland just said, being able to talk to anyone, whether it was a CEO or executive or whatever level, whether you have a business or not, or you work for Zoho, everybody was very approachable, and you had the opportunity to spend quality time with each other. And that was refreshing to me, because I've done the whole mega conferences and things like that. And, next thing you know, you come home, you try to figure out, what did you fully get accomplished, But I did like that it was very structured too at the same time. I like the setup of the U. That was cool. And then just the opportunity for us to have our voice, because there's a lot of times in conferences, especially the mega ones, the attendees don't really have a voice, right? It's really, we're being talked at. And so this was the opportunity where it was like a two-way street. And I thought that was really, really refreshing. And then the attention to detail, the little gifts that were given, we had our name tag. I mean, just the little things really add up, especially in an environment where there's smaller amount of people. I just thought they did really, really well for the very first time.
Thanks, Ramon. That's awesome.
Who else? Keep it going. Who else?
I'll pass it on to John. And John, don't be too grumpy, okay? Just go ahead.
Oh boy.
I'm just gonna be me.
You're asking a lot there, Monique. You're asking a lot.
I mean, everybody's talked about, what is this about, the event, or is it about the company? What do you want to know?
I was talking about the event, but the company.
The food was good. The food was good. The hotel was good. The drinks were pouring. There was good conversation. It was okay. I mean, I don't know what you guys. Okay, anyway, I'm not going to be grumpy. I don't know what people expect from these things.
Too late.
I mean, I've been to all kinds of different events, different levels. Honestly, it's all the same to me. I think the people at Zoho definitely are different, but the event they're no different to me. It's the same. It's the same old thing. Same old thing. They're going to tell you about what our new releases are. Hey, here's a couple of customers. Go have some drinks. That's what these things are. And I don't know. I don't know what y'all are expecting from me.
Well, then tag someone.
Yeah, let's get it over with.
Yeah.
Move on, please. Didn't Ramon already go?
Did Ramon go? Leland go.
Didn't Leland go? Are you even paying?
You know what? Let's put it like this. If this is your rodeo, you run the show. I can't remember who went.
Why don't you see if Monique went? Ask. Just try it, John. Just say.
Oh no, don't do
Go to
that.
Monique.
She's the one that tagged you for crying out loud.
All right, you know what?
Let's move on.
I'd rather get to the content. Let's get to the content.
No, we got to get to the person. Shashi,
Brian. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, either way.
Brian, there you go.
All right. I'll be a truth teller.
No, lie to us, Brian, please.
What was I doing? Was I
Right to our
lying?
face.
Zoho is the type of company that we all root for. I mean, they are just really good, what I call salt of the earth people. And man, I love going to that event. I love everybody in the company. I think that they're so focused on humanity and doing right by their customers and their people that I think they're missing things, right? They are a generalist operating in a very industry specific world. And I had that conversation with some of the people, like, how do you compete against industry specific software, like Top Producer in real estate or Toast in the restaurant business, right? I mean, if you're a small business owner and you're talking to a company that says, look, we created this product with your business specifically in mind. It addresses your needs that you need to run your business every day versus here's a general software application. And yeah, you can customize it to eventually meet the needs of your company. That's a harder sell. Now, the entry point for Zoho could be that we're all in one. We want your data talking to each other and make it as seamless as possible. So we have CRM, we have invoicing, we have notes, we have 55 plus applications, and you can bring them all together. And once that data is in-house, it's all going to talk to each other, and you don't have to worry about anybody locking your different applications out from each other, right? But they never mentioned that. Did you notice that? Like, they never talked about the seamlessness of this all working together cohesively. And so I think they have an awareness problem with business owners. We joked about that a little bit at the conference, right? It's the best company that, small business owners haven't learned about or heard about. But I think they need to hone their message. Here is the main feature. Here's the main benefit for your particular business. And they should talk more about industries and sectors.
Hey, Brian, before Shashi jumps
Ramon,
in.
you actually pointed that out, Ramon, in the conference.
And Shashi, forgive me, but before you jump in, Shashi, just Brian, briefly, I guess for me, I don't see that. I see they've been highly successful over X number of years. Their stated purpose, we have 6,000 or whatever, the 1,000 of people in Chennai who are fully employed. People do find us. So are they as big and flashy and doing Hollywood ads or Super Bowl ads as others? No. But it seems to be they're moving along as they want. So I just was curious what you think about that. Meaning,
and it has nothing to do with flash. Not. I remember having this conversation. Not every.
No,
CEO,
I meant, but the fact is,
not every CEO is charismatic and upfront and a great speaker on the stage, right? But there are a lot of introverted CEOs who are just as successful, if not more so. And so Zoho is very. It's like Leland said. He's walking with Tony Thomas as if they're friends and they're friends and they've known each other for years. And what you see is what you get with Tony and the rest of Zoho. And
we'll bring in Shashi, but I don't know if you're answering my question.
But
Brian,
yeah, let's get to this. This is what I want to talk about. So let's get through this. How much did you like the party and drinks? Brent's question first.
Look, that was the way. That was the way you.
That's not what he was asking.
Yeah, that's the way you interpreted it, which is fine. But that's not.
That.
Nobody else is talking about the drinks.
Well, that's what I was asking you. It's like, what part do you want?
I leave it up to you. You chose to focus on the party and the drinks. Everybody else.
All right, Sashi.
Can I just let me just do one more interruption? See, John, I defend you, John, on this show all the time against Brent's relentless, unnecessary, low-level, rude attacks on you. But John, it's things like this, John, when you do this, that makes me need to wave the Brent flag and say, he kind of didn't say to do it this way, John. That's how you interpret it. So Brent's right here, John. I just need to say that. But Shashi, please save us.
Then
even though Brian did not answer my question.
And I'm in shock right now.
I attend a lot of events. This event is actually very different. Like if you think about every event is hospitable. Every event has a lot of drinks, like John said, and customers and everything. But this is unorchestrated. I think Leland said like they were on time and everything. That's great. But it wasn't like everybody prepared. Like, hey, here's what we're going to say. I think Monique said like we could actually talk and say anything that we thought about the company. That's why, Brian, you actually told them like, hey, and they agree that they are the best kept secret, right? So the most companies should follow this. Smaller group, 100 people, access as much as you want to the top leadership, and the leadership didn't even like have like, hey, I need to have a minder with me, or whatever they call them, right? Like, hey, you're at 11:15 to 11:16. After that, go have your drinks, right? It was like, hey, talk to anybody you need. I was very interested in the customer stories. And it seemed like one theme that I got that I don't get anywhere else is the customers were telling us how their career developed because they became Zoho experts. That's not what you hear from people. Clearly, they need to figure out a way to get that message across. I don't know if depending on search is going to be fulfilling for a longer time. So that's if there was one pitfall of what they should be worried about. But otherwise, I think the hospitality of the guest is God carried on to this, which is actually an Indian saying.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here last because there's something you guys did not talk about. Monique touched on it, and that was strategically speaking, what they really did at this event is there was that interactive component where there was they were asking us, people were like serious in-depth interviewing. And I think that they view these events as in-depth interview opportunities. They get that closeness, they get to talk to us. And in this case, they were featuring a platform, an interactive platform. But what was really happening is that they were using some of the best minds in small business and small business customers to uncover potential challenges and opportunities inside the world of small business. I highly, highly value that. That is putting yourself into such a vulnerable position as a company, and I admire that. So I want to make sure that I've said that. Now, if you are doing an event or anything like that, this is just such a, I want people to understand, since we all struggle with market research so much and small businesses, this is your number one path to success. And they've really leveraged that, right? And that's the reason why I prefer these much smaller events, because I know I can tell by the conversations I'm having with people that they spent the next day while we were gone debriefing on what they heard and what was said and what was going to happen with that. That is incredibly powerful, and every business can do that. Okay. No. The second thing I want to do is, I love that Brian brought this whole thing up because he and I had this little conversation because we sat next to each other. And I think I'm going to say something that Zoho, I don't see them as differentiating by industry. What I see them doing is differentiating by philosophy, in the same way that maybe Apple differentiates by philosophy. In the same way, I'm going to bring this one up. Jeep. We all know that Jeeps have issues, right? Every time you see a car manufacturer be evaluated, they're like, Jeeps have issues. But what do Jeeps have? They have a movement. They've got a rabid community who loves their Jeep. They have a little thing with the ducks. They got the whole thing. And I think that this is what Zoho is going for. No, they're not for everyone, but psychologically, at least for me, I'm going to get rebellious and say, I am tired of giving my money to companies who don't listen to or appreciate me. And I feel that Zoho, whether I'm the user that's sending in a help ticket, I feel appreciated and acknowledged, even in that help ticket. And I think that means something. So, what do they have? They can position on security. They're vertical like Apple. Like you can be vertical and it's secure. And I think that they are real. Their whole thing is really more of a movement. It's just that they're not playing the marketing games. And that's part of their thing, is they're not playing marketing games. Yeah, I appreciate that. As a marketer, I appreciate that.
Brian, you might remember this. One of the IBM events we went to, and they broke us all up into different smaller groups, and then they had a whiteboarder drawer person.
Yeah.
And from each of the groups, they were really trying to glean all of the information from the small business leaders. I thought that exercise was really great. And I was going to ask Zoho about what are they going to do with the Vanny stuff afterwards. Are they going to take that and, condense that into some sort of report or something they're going to use it internally?
That's what's going to happen.
Possibly, well, we hope so.
No, not hope so. I talked to Artie, who was in charge of that project, and what they're actually doing. This piece of software that we're all talking about is on like a soft release. There's stuff that works and whatever. They used us as guinea pigs. What they're going to do is use the AI feature to pull insights. So they're actually using us as part of their beta test. And there is going to be a report because they specifically said there was going to be a report.
That'd be cool.
And eventually,
go ahead.
No, you finish up.
Well, the one thing I want to say to Brian's point, and I don't know if everybody is feeling this vibe, but to me, Zoho's playing the long game. They want to be your business operating system. Your entire, like they say, Zoho runs on Zoho. They want businesses to run their entire operation on Zoho. Zoho is not just another software vendor. They are a platform that you run on. That's completely different. And what you're going to see, I think, is you're going to see, like we have Zoom right now. Zoom has docs and Zoom has note-taking software, and they've got whiteboarding software. What Zoho had was a lot of coders. How many did you say, Ramon? 6,000?
6,000 are growing in Chennai, 20,000 total.
All right. So they had 6,000 coders that would just put together all of these different things that would work together inside of one software. And I think that's the future, which seemed like very unique. I think that's going to be the future with so much of AI being able to program. People are going to be putting on all kinds of suites on top of their software. I don't know if it's going to be the long game of, single software, single use.
But that's what I meant, John, when I mentioned, I see Dan mention the name Salesforce, HubSpot, Microsoft. All these are great companies. All the companies are doing the best they can. But especially as Sridhar, the co-founder who's now chief scientist, as he's very said, we're not going public. We don't have quarter by quarter. That's all I meant, even just to echo you, the philosophy. What was that? You said even the philosophy of whatever you said. It's a mic drop moment. Let me just say it right so I can say the mic drop again. Yes, differentiation by philosophy. That's all I meant, is that, yes, they may not be doing the ads. They may be and you're right, Brian, the best unknown software compared to the others. But when you're not quarter by quarter, when you're not public to Wall Street, when you're fine with your money, when you can experiment forever, you can't be beat.
I just love that about them. I don't know. That is just something I love so much. And does the software have issues? Brian, why they didn't talk about, or who was it that said they didn't talk about all this integration? Yeah. The integration works 80 to 90% of the time. And then there are some obvious integrations that should work, but don't. And maybe they really are working hard to address that, and that's the other thing I love, long game. Can we talk about long game, please? Oh, and I can't believe that I'm going to say the words AI now. Oh my God.
And it's recorded.
Long game. They are really stepping in. They've had AI forever, but they're stepping into it slowly. And because of their philosophy of security and privacy, and Then they went from security and privacy to peace of mind. And all of that goes towards protecting their customer. And there are things that I do around that I'm not wild about, but it's good for, just like your parents say, like, eat your green beans, they're good for you. You don't like them, but you know.
Yeah, I would agree, Ivana, that they definitely play the long game here. The challenge they have is how much is going to change in the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, to have that foresight to navigate through not only AI, but quantum AI, which is probably going to be here in the next 3 to 5 years, right? I mean, to be able to see what the SMB landscape is going to look like in 2030 is pretty profound. But what I'd love to do is ask everybody this question. If you were going to recommend Zoho to your small business clients today, how would you recommend them and what would you say? And I'll tag John first.
I would look at what they are needing most and start them off with introducing them to, just like a lot of the people that were customer users. It's like, okay, we had this one need, we researched it, we found one of the Zoho tools, started implementing that, and then realized, hey, since we're using this, we can use this other tool because it already has the data and don't have to transfer it between tools. So I would just start with one of their tools that they would mostly need, which seems to be CRM. So probably start there. Sashi.
Yeah, I think it's risk-free, right? The cost of ownership of this is so low that you can just try it out. If it doesn't fit your needs, move on. And that's been their business model, right? People look at us and they also said, I mean, one of the things that's very interesting is they don't even do the PLG model, meaning get somebody in the door, send them 100 emails a week and make them convert. So they just said, like, they're going to convert. One interesting thing, just to add to your question. And
hey, Shashi, before you go, I was going to put this comment by Dan Gilman up, but it literally covers up Brian's face. So we can't, sorry, Dan, it looks like a big comment. But let me just say, first of all, shout out to Dan. Thanks for joining us. Pierre, thanks for joining us, Pierre. John R. Webb, thank you for joining us. And there's a LinkedIn user. We do not know who you are, but we are glad that you are with us. All right, Shashi, yep. Just want to get that.
That's true. No, and also shout out to everybody on Instagram who are on. A few of them. That's true. Please connect with Ramon Ray and tell him you watched this show because he doesn't believe me. So I think it's an interesting comment from Dan about HubSpot, and I was thinking of that too. Again, like, this is not an opinion of Infotech. It's my own personal opinion, but HubSpot could be having problems simply because they were so dependent on search traffic for discovery, which I fear Zoho may also be in the same boat, except that because their customers are adding on modules, like John said, they may be a little less. But you have to think about how you're going to market. And one thing interesting that Raju told me was, he said engineering the customer experience, meaning instead of telling people, like, here's a book, go read it and figure out how to work on this, said we have our engineering try to say that instead of an app, we just give them a checkbox, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a product that keeps improving. So I'm sure they'll do well on that front. To just one more point to Brian, like, I think they're thinking long term. They don't have Wall Street pressure. So they were thinking about AI like 10 years ago, right? So right now, I think even the collaboration platform that they showed, I think we can't talk about it much, but it's the way it's going to be for the next 4 or 5 years. Payments, such an important thing for people, especially with invoices. That's my viewpoint.
Everybody get in there, because I'll Leland, did you?
No.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So to answer Brian's question about, like, if I were to and I've met people who are building businesses who I go, hey, have you heard of Zoho? And they're like, no, I've never heard of Zoho. And I go, okay, with one of their, you could do this, you could get your website, your email, all these kinds of tools all together. And one was a plumber, and he's like, well, I really need to invoice. And I was like, oh yeah, with Zoho, you could do the job and then right there, pull out your tablet, do all the invoice, and then you already have their information from the customer call in there, and so it's right there for the customer, sends off the invoice, and the customer right there can then pull out their phone and pay you right away. And he goes, sold. Yeah, send me the information. I am set. That's what I want. I want to be able to get paid. I want to get paid quickly. And that was the big thing for him. And yeah, he could get that with another software or anything like that, but to know that it comes with his website and his email, and he get himself a phone number, and it's all there, bundled together. It was really important to him, and he loved that, and he loved that it was going to be a really good price instead of paying $150, $200 for all those softwares separately, $30, because it's just him. It's his, but he's, Zoho Solo might have been a good one for him. But this was before Zoho Solo, but he loved it. He loved that it was a good price, and he didn't have to deal with 50 different products separately.
I'm sorry.
Go, Monique, go for it.
Yes. To piggyback off of what you just said, 50 separate products. What are you, I'm posing a question to you guys. What are your thoughts about the amount of apps that they have? Like, to me, I feel like they have a lot of apps, and I'm just going to wrap everything in a bow. Like, to me, the intention of this experience could be, so it was research. It's all these different things. To me, it helped me, and maybe this was part of it, is I kind of forgot about Zoho, if I'm going to be frank with you. And based on attending this event, I was like, oh, snap, I need to use Zoho, or I want to dig in more as to what they offer. However, there is a slight pushback for me about the amount of things that they offer. And I know they continue to build more and more apps. So my question to you all is, what are your thoughts on that? Because yes, it'd be great. It is the long game. They want you all to, or all of us to use Zoho for everything. But I feel like right now the presentation of the amount of apps that they have, that could be a kind of con, if that makes sense.
Here's my thinking, Monique. Here's my thinking of the apps. And I think you're right, the kind of con, and it could be, whoa, you do really everything? Never been at a billion-dollar company? Don't know, these guys clearly know something what they're doing, but here's my little guess. And I'm having fun here, but follow me. We want an app that can help you make gold figurines on your dresser. Let's get 2 people in Zoho to do it. 5 days later, a year later, the little app that's only for 2 million people is done. They get a marketing manager, SEO it, Facebook at it, and it grows. That becomes a lead then into Zoho One or into the bigger core app. So that's just my small little meeting. They can afford to. They're not the bigger traditional players. Again, going back to the long game, going back to they're not on Wall Street. They can make an app on any water purification for small business. Put 5 programmers on it in Chennai. It's done. They already know it's not perfect, but somebody's buying it because it's free for less than 3. It'll get better and better in 10 years or a million years. And so I guess that's my only, you couldn't afford to do it if it was onshore programming, if it was the typical company, but they can build anything.
Right.
I asked this question very similarly to what you're saying, Monique, to like, hey, you have so many 55 apps, like, isn't it overwhelming? Like, how do you tell people what you do? So the answer was actually very simple that Raju gave me. He said, like, we don't sell everything as a package, right? So you never get anything that you don't need. Whereas if a company was in Wall Street, it would say like, hey, $49 or nothing. Here, their philosophy, when I asked a question about 22 apps, he said, like, this is not Zoho One customers who are using only 22 out of 50. It is our customers across the field who have added on step by step to 22 apps. I didn't realize that till I asked him that question.
I
That's
can
smart.
tell you, Monique.
That's smart. Yeah.
You
go
know,
ahead.
when we were part of that, when we were all part of the advisory board team and everything, and they gave us the option to use Zoho One because they had just launched it or something, it sat for me for like a couple years. And then finally, I think something came. I actually started with the bookings app because I didn't feel like giving Calendly money. So like I had it, I started for free with them and I started using bookings. Then I was like, hey, I don't want to give MailChimp any more money because like my email list got beyond a certain amount. Now it's going to cost me $50 a month. And I'm like, you know what? Zoho One is like, I don't know, $37 a month or like something like that. And I'm going to get 50 apps. I don't need to use all of them. Once you get beyond a couple apps, you're in the black. So what I say to people is this is your lowest total cost option. Because let's say start with where people say CRM. I didn't start with CRM. I started with bookings, the calendar app. Then I went on to the marketing campaigns because obviously I do marketing campaigns, right? And then I went into like some other things, and little by little, I've expanded. Now I'm using payments. Now I'm using checkout. Now I'm using commerce. And here's something that I said to the Zoho people that our small business folks think. Monique, you guys know this. John too. Right? You get a bug up your ass. You want to do something. You're like, I want to do this thing. Right? But then what happens? Obstacles come up. Oh, I got to find a software. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. When I want to launch something, I've got 10 man hours. If it ain't launched in 10 man hours, I like the fun is gone. I built my Zoho commerce store in about 10 hours. Because I got a bug up my bum. Like, I want an e-commerce store. I need to put all this stuff together. So that's the beauty of it. Because as an entrepreneur, when you get an idea, you should be able to implement that very, very quickly. And my experience as a user for like, 7 years now, is that I've been able to do that because those apps are there. I don't have to go looking for them. I'm like, let me start here and see how it goes.
Yeah. Don't sell the suite, sell the app.
Yeah. Even real quick. They have medication today for if you have bugs up your bum. Just so you know. It's a variety of them that work.
I hope, as long as it works in less than 10 man hours, I'm set.
Zoho reminds me of my smartphone, right? You could people use smartphones for 1,000 different reasons, right? You got 100 apps on here. You probably use 10 of them, right? But those options are there. The best thing, my biggest takeaway is we had a customer meeting, and I can't remember the woman's name, but she did the evaluations. She had the evaluations company, and she used Zoho Solo. And I loved the way that she described using that. She can run her business from her phone. It's 6 applications, and it's simple. It's simple, it's affordable, and it's easy to use. And I'm like, sold. That's an easy one to convey to people who want to run their businesses on their phones. Landscapers, electricians, plumbers. You think about the service industry, right? I got it. Like that was a light bulb moment for me.
Yeah, I think that was key that they had us talk to specific customers, and especially when they had the panel of them, and then they had us do the little breakout roundtables downstairs. It helped me to see how to use it in different ways or to solve specific problems that you just, wouldn't typically think about. And I think that was a good selling point. Once again, this helped me to rediscover Zoho. And now I'm like, okay, I'm ready to play with it again, type of thing, sandbox type of situation, because it was really interesting to see what is there. They showed us like some tools that are about to be announced, and then also like the future. And I'm just like, okay, this all makes sense.
Yeah, it was a great discussion. I've been kind of holding back a little bit because you guys it was really great. And I have a bit of a different kind of perspective because I've known about Zoho since 2005 or thereabouts. I've also been a strategic advisor for like last 10 or 12 years, excuse me. So I've probably seen a lot more than the average person, what they do and how they operate. And I mean, you got to look back to just the way that kind of the culture. There are like over thousands of people that have worked at that company that have been there for at least 15, 20 years. Yeah. I mean, the whole executive team, they've been there since the beginning. Next year will be the 30th anniversary. The cohesiveness and it's not just they agree. They can agree, but they can also disagree because it's like a family. I mean, the co-founders are our family, but they have created this environment where you go to a Zoho event, you just do like I do every now and again. I'm like, how long have you been here? How long have you been here?
Yeah.
20, 22, 18, 15. The majority of these folks have been there for decades. They are very comfortable with each other. They're comfortable with what they're doing. They aren't a publicly traded company. They don't have to live quarter by quarter, which is what most publicly traded companies do, or companies that have taken a lot of VC money. You know, whenever you take money, outside influences start to creep in, and you don't operate the way that you used to. They have purposely, from the beginning, said they will never go public and they will never take outside money. So you can count the number of companies that can try to do that and they'll still fail, because once you've gotten that outside money, you're kind of addicted, and it's hard to get the barbarians outside. So they have built this, and the other thing too is, I'm not going to call anybody out, but there's some people that were saying, "Oh man, you should let me market them." They didn't get it. These folks have already got 900 paying customers, 125 million users. They've done some stuff right, and they are more true to their culture and how they do things than to have some kind of outsider that's worked at the traditional tech companies try to sell them to do this. Now, there's some things they could definitely do different, but when it comes down to the core of who they are and what they do and how they do it, they'll never get in because they don't get it. They rather build the trust and loyalty and provide value. That's the big thing. Schroeder said a couple of years ago, they don't ever want to be a costly input to their customers. Mm-hmm. That's why when it comes to all this AI stuff, I think Shashi said they've been working on it for more than a decade, but they got their own data centers. They do their own servers, and now they're building their own LLMs because partially they want to know how things work. So the only way that you know how to do that is to build stuff from scratch. So now they know how to do it and what it'll cost. And then they're able to control the cost better because now everything runs on them. And that's why I think one of the reasons why Schroeder became the chief scientist, because he's working on these big power issues. Because if you can get your hands around the power consumption and you can control it from a pricing perspective, that means that your customers have a much better feeling for what it's going to cost. It's going to be a little easier than what's going on with Adobe right now. They're trying to figure out how to price this AI stuff, and they are having a time. That's why their stock price is down like 30 or 40% year over year. Salesforce is having a problem. Figma, all these companies, because they don't control those inputs. Mm-hmm. Zoho made sure they want to know how things are built, how you build them from scratch, and how you can control those costly inputs so they're not as costly. That's a lot of stuff going on. And then, as for this meeting, I think what was really interesting, the most interesting part to me, having been to this, and I actually helped them create the very first Zoho Day about 8 or 9 years ago. To see where this is going is tremendous, because mine was junk compared to theirs, but that's another story. So when they're talking about this, using this Vonnie thing, and they told me a little bit ahead of time what they're going to do with it, it was very cool to see that they used their want for feedback and use this collaborative tool, because it actually kind of proved that it works very successfully. Mm-hmm. But it was also, notice they were always asking questions. What do you think about this? The whole thing was an information gathering exercise using that new tool there.
And they had us use it too at the same time.
And they had it That's the whole. So not only
Right,
were they
that was the
getting
whole
feedback,
point.
they were testing out how does this thing work with non-Zoho people.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a
Exactly.
very, I mean, you know, the whole day was. I thought it was great because it was intimate. It wasn't, you know, the enterprise ones, they get bigger, and when you have the enterprise analysts, they are very prickly. I'm with them. I know them quite well.
Yeah, Brent,
I'm
about
on the
that.
front. Yeah.
But Brent, you're a nice guy, but some of your peers, like prickly is not even the word. They're like ice cold bath, lemonade, razor blade. Like, I'm a nice guy, but I feel like, especially one in particular, I'm going to be nice, but you know who I'm talking about, going to the front of the freaking room and just shutting off the mic. It really gets bad. Like, really, dude? You know, they pontificate like, even though you've created a $40 trillion company, I think your logo's too blue.
You're doing that too well. You're going it too well, because I know exactly.
I'm revealing it too much. I'm like, dude, listen. You work at a home office in a townhouse. You have no. Yeah, let me just stop, Brent. Let me just.
That was really good. You did a really good job.
Are you going to go public? Like, you get to one, you hear it once, they ain't going public. Why does every year somebody ask if they're going to go public? Why?
Or they question everything they do. Like, well, why are you building this thing? Or what? Why aren't you focusing more on? So they could never do an exercise like what they did with us with that group, and they knew that. So I think, you know, of course, there's certain things that are always going to be a part of the formula. Yeah, you're going to hear about their new products. Yeah, they're going to try it out some customers. But the cool thing is they tried out a customer that was only like a couple weeks into it, so they had no idea what they're going to say.
Right. And you can't beat somebody who also says, sorry, Brian, is that we're happy to be willing to fail. You cannot beat. Imagine Raju, the big dog, right? He's been there since the beginning. Him standing, using an application saying, hey, this may not work. You just can't beat that. There's nobody can make fun of you. Nobody can dish you. Mm-hmm. You're like, no, it failed. We'll try next year. Sorry, come back.
What about the fact that Tony and Raju were there the whole time? You don't even get the executives at these things for a handshake at the beginning and then they're out.
Yes, and the humility. But Tony and Raju were, you can't mean.
And they were approachable. They were willing to have side conversations with you. You know, the whole.
Not only willing, they look forward to that stuff. I'm telling you, these folks really want to know what you think, and that translates into not only the product, but the whole way that they treat customers, how they treat employees. Mm-hmm. It's a whole cultural thing. So once again,
you can see that. And you know, to Brian's question, I will tell you my number one reason for using Zoho and sticking with them, regardless of what experience I'm having on any given day, is exactly what we're talking about today. My very first Zoholics, I happened to be 10 feet behind Sridhar. We had left the media room and and he's walking down. And you know, everyone has different ribbons, right? The attendees have one ribbon, medium, blah, blah, blah. He gets down to the elevator and there's this young girl. I don't know if she knew who he was or, you know, whatever, but he's just talking to her. How are you finding the conference? Mm-hmm. And these two are in a conversation waiting for the elevator. Mm-hmm. That was my very first impression. He didn't know I was watching, not that he would care, but it's like who people are when they don't know someone is watching.
You'll never find that even at any other event. We've been to the big events, security, some shaved head guy with a Glock on his side standing by. I'm like, really, dude, I'll take you down in a heartbeat. And then, but that's a side note. But
that's the Brooklyn coming out and Ramon. Get him.
Come on, Monique. You know it. I mean, but listen at Tony, head of Zoho, even walk with Leland and his wife down a river. That says it all.
Without guardrails, I mean, that was.
I mean, Leland could have done anything. Could have repro. Anyhow, Leland, Brent, please help me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's about time to wrap it up because we're a little over. We're past the hour, but I'm glad that we had. First of all, I'm glad that they invited all of us to be there, and think about that as well. They didn't invite just look at the number of followers or subscribers or whatever. They picked. Based on some of their, you know, interactions over the years, and they trusted, you know, recommendations to you should have this person there, and they could not only they consider it, and then they also you're right. How did we miss it? Mm-hmm. So it's really cool that they brought us as a part of that overall group. Yep. Mm-hmm. It's also cool that they even provided us a room and a AV expert with 3 cameras, lighting, all that. And allowed us to do our show while we were down there, and we will be putting that out at some point. But it was really cool that they did all of that, I think the final thing is there should be more companies that operate kind of like that. I don't think there are going to be a lot because it takes a lot to do that. It takes a commitment to, your belief in your culture and not always kind of being dictated to do things because outside influences dictate that on you. They can do things at their own pace. They want to make sure they get it right. They want to do it within the constraints of their culture and making sure they, remember in the pandemic, they didn't lay off a single employee. Right. There aren't a whole bunch of companies that can say that. So they operate in a different way. And me, for one, I'm glad they do, because it's a refreshing change to be able to see something that people think would probably never be able to work, and it works because they've built something kind of unique there. So,
Brent, they're the kind of company you love to root for.
That's a good way of putting it.
That might not be your home team, but they're a team playing in the the league that you're like, you know what? They're my second favorite team behind my home team. You know what I mean? There's something about them, and it's the culture. That's their superpower at the end of the day.
All right, so that's going to be Brian's parting shot, because that was a really good one. That was like a mic drop-esque kind of thing. All right, so you get to pick who makes their last thought.
What's that?
You get to pick who makes their last thought.
Oh, I'm going with Leland.
All right. I've gone to a lot of Soho events, and this one was really great, especially with it being so small business focused and small business minded, and then wanting to actually glean information from us. And you don't get that much, and the amount of respect that goes towards Zoho. I went to another event for Adobe, and there was like 6 people on the call for it, and then it's like compared to like another event that it was very similar information for Zoho, and there was like 35 people. And so just that I see the respect from the industry, our industry, for Zoho is really great, and that tells you something about them. And I'm excited to see just how far they're able to catapult. Ramon.
For me, I would say 2 things. I think one, and most important, is to continue that we all just make an impact in the world. This is beyond Zoho, but just be good people, network, play the long game, be friendly, be nice as you can. So I think that's one. And a big shout out to Bitdefender. Bitdefender, as you all know, I'm their small business ambassador, so I'm always grateful for the opportunity I get to work with them. We lock our doors at night. We go home, click, click. We lock our cars, boop, boop. And so our cars are boop, boop. I did it again because I said cars. I mispronounced it. And the thing is that why not make sure your small business is secure? So go to bitdefender.com, bitdefender.com/Ramon, and check out the solutions for Bitdefender. And I will tag Monique.
Oh my goodness. My last thought is just events in general. And because I am in the event space and like more so virtual event space, make it a 2-way street. And what I mean by that is giving your audience a voice. Any chance you can do that, no matter what type of experience you're in, you will land it, and it will be the most impactful experience for anyone. So that's my last thought. I think hats off to Zoho, the team, Sandy and Ariel for, getting this together and being our main point of contacts. This was a great event, and this was my first Zoho event. And I took a break from events because they were getting on my nerves, and this was a great way to reintroduce me back into the game. So thank you for that. Next I will choose my girl Ivana.
Thank you. I'm going to say something completely different. It's going to be a personal reflection with a tip at the end. Prior to this event, my routine, I am embarrassed to say, was this like doom scrolling. My head was in a bad space, or I was just feeling down. Like, you can't get away from the news. You can't get away from all of this. Looking at data, looking at research, doing the projects. And I was kind of wound up tight by the time I showed up in San Antonio. Once I got there, and Monique's first smiley face that I saw, it's like everything melted away. Being with all of you, people I haven't seen in so long, and talking about how we first met and what brought us together really made, I don't know, it just filled my heart and my soul. And I did not look at the news. I did not doom scroll. I was not on social other than seeing the LinkedIn post that we were putting out there. And so my tip at the end is find your people. This is real. I have also divested myself of a lot of events. This is the one I will not ever divest from for this very reason. So find your people and take the time to get together. Even if you're on a business trip or something, go into some city, find your people and fill your soul. Because right now, every entrepreneur has to do some serious mental gymnastics and pretzel, twisting to be in the right headspace. So do that. Go with your peeps. I will tag Shashi.
Great. I get to have the last word, I think, right? Everybody else went.
I think so.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I think sometimes people who are very close to technology assume the whole world has the same kind of familiarity with technology, but small businesses are extremely busy. I want small businesses not to have any FOMO, meaning ignore everything and just focus on what your problem is. And if there's something that you hate doing and you're doing it repeatedly because you need to, that's the time when you need to choose something. For example, one of the Zoho meetings, that lady brought up an example of paying $60,000 just to do an integration. That's painful. I mean, I feel like you should be able to do a lot of stuff yourself, especially if you're not a multi-million-dollar company and a small business trying to get a lifestyle together. So don't worry about it. Choose the software that has the lowest barrier to entry. And everybody is in the same boat, so don't have FOMO is my message.
All right. I guess my last thought is Dan Gilman has written a book in the comment section. His comments are, they're good.
Yep.
So thanks, Dan, for being a part of the show, because really all those great comments, they're a part of what we do here. So we appreciate that. I'm going to say, like Ivana, it was great seeing everybody. I've seen most of you earlier in the year at my event, but not all of you. I mean, it was really great just to be able to sit down and talk. I don't even think I've seen like Monique since January, which is kind of funny since we're just right here in Atlanta. And I don't even think I saw John since my event. So it's just really
Me neither.
cool.
I haven't seen John since either. Yeah.
So it's really great when you're able to do things face to face, and it adds a dimension. Sometimes we kind of take that for granted, doing all this virtual stuff, but that really can't replace the face to face stuff. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody that joins us every Friday. We seeing great comments and people that sometime are first time visitors, and some folks are regulars. We like y'all both. So we hope you continue to join us in that way. And it was great seeing Mr. Moran back with us. And hopefully that'll be a little sooner than later the next time you join us. So
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right. So with all that said, we hope you have a great weekend. We will see you next. I was going to say, if it's Friday, it's not Meet the Press. It's just Small Biz Breakdown. So we hope you see you next week. Have a great weekend. We will see you then.